Alright, so the saga of the best and possibly also worst launches in gaming history has finally reached its peak, ladies and gentlemen. What's up everybody, welcome back to another Cyberpunk video. Today we have some of the most unexpected news you can think of. Like, imagine my surprise when I woke up in the morning and this was the news that I was plastered with on Twitter, and not just Twitter, like basically everywhere, Reddit, you name it, it is out there. So if you're unfamiliar with the news, let me just break it down to you in one short sentence, and I'm pretty sure that I won't be too far off from the truth when I say this. But Sony literally just cancelled Cyberpunk 2077 on the PlayStation platform as a whole. Yes, you read that right. Literally, if you go onto the PlayStation Network right now, it doesn't matter if it's the PS4, PS4 Pro, or even the PlayStation 5s, you cannot find Cyberpunk there anymore as a digital product. You can still go ahead and buy this as a physical product in your local store, but say goodbye to the game, at least for now, from the PlayStation Network. So this began with this message from yesterday, from basically 12 hours ago at the time of making this video. If you went and if you still go on the official Sony PlayStation Cyberpunk website, page, this is what you will encounter. So Sony Interactive Entertainment strives to ensure a high level of customer satisfaction. Therefore, we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased Cyberpunk 2077 via the PlayStation Store. Sony Interactive Entertainment will also be removing Cyberpunk 2077 from PlayStation Store until further notice. So this is huge right here. But once we have confirmed that you purchased Cyberpunk 2077 via PSN, we will begin processing your refund. Please note that the completion of the refund may vary based on your payment method and financial institution. So I think that this is probably the most crazy kind of outcome that you can expect from any game. If like even 2 weeks ago anybody came up to me and told me that this would be the route Cyberpunk would take, I would laugh in their face, completely not believe them, and like just say that they're crazy. But yet here we are, and there's still more surprises for us in store. Now, to be more frank, I think that this is basically a response to CD Projekt Red's previous message, where they basically just went in and announced, probably without even consulting Sony or Microsoft, about the fact that they're offering full-on refunds, including on platforms that they themselves not control. And even though the parallel that I'm drawing right here is not like 100% like applicable to this situation, I think it is a little bit. It's almost similar to what Epic Games did when they kind of offered those in-game purchases on the Apple Store. They basically went behind the back of the platform they are choosing to sell their product on. Again, not a full one-on-one comparison, but the moral of the story is still pretty much the same. If you go up against the platform that kind of well feeds you, at least to some extent, you are bound to get burned in this kind of way. Now, the question that I have, and especially after everything that happened in the past week, is this some kind of response or way from Sony to show who's boss to CDPR? Because this kind of seems as a response to their previous way of handling things. Last week they issued full-on blanket refunds, no questions asked, on all of the platforms, and the way CDPR worded that message seemed as if they did not priorly consult with any of the big platforms they're selling Cyberpunk on, like especially Microsoft and Sony. So could this be a response to that? Like, okay, you screwed it up, you now issue refunds, you know what, just take your game back, fix it, and once it's done, you can then relaunch it back on our platform. I think that this would at least partially explain the way things are being handled, because there were some really bad games on the PlayStation Store before, like especially Anthem. Anthem was even worse than this. Not only could you not play the game at all, connect to the servers, but there was literally almost no content outside of the leveling process, and that was it. Yet they did not get the game out of the store. So I think that this is in part a little bit CDPR's own way of dealing with things, like being consumer friendly, coming back and biting them from behind. I'm just saying it out there, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but things kind of match up in a very interesting kind of way, to the point that it seems too good to be just a pure on 100% coincidence. And this also brings us to CDPR's own response to that about 4 hours ago. So this is even juicier. So following our discussion with PlayStation, a decision was made to temporarily suspend digital distribution of Cyberpunk 2077 on the PlayStation Store. You can still buy physical versions of the game in brick and mortar stores and online. All purchased digital and physical copies of the game will continue to receive support and updates as we continue to improve your experience. According to our knowledge, starting today, everyone who is not willing to wait for updates and wants to refund their digital copy of the game can do so by submitting a request at of course the PlayStation main website, and there's even a special website for special page for full-on Cyberpunk refunds. This is just nuts, dude. Finally, we are working hard to bring Cyberpunk back to the PSN as soon as possible, and this is just crazy, dude. Like, I have never imagined that Cyberpunk would launch in such a rough state. So let me be clear on this one. I'm gonna like just give my impressions of the game right now really quickly on the PlayStation 5. Personally, the only problems I've encountered are hard crashes, as in the game crashes, I need to reload it, I need to go back to it. Luckily enough, no save data being lost. I would immediately like just get a save and I would just go back like at most 5 minutes once a crash would happen. At the same time, the game does feel janky, it does feel unfinished. Let's be honest out there, I love the game, I enjoy it so much. I'm planning to cover it for months, if not way more than that, but I cannot ignore the fact that the game is in a pretty rough state, to the point that it literally reminds me of Fallout 4. It reminds me of Fallout 4, especially before applying the bug fixes and the patch fixes created by the fans and not by Bethesda themselves. But anyway, what does this mean for the future of the game? Will the game come back to the PlayStation Network? Well, I think that from the wording, it's pretty telling that eventually they are going to bring the game back to the PlayStation Network. First of all, I think that by, well, March 2021, the game is going to be fully back on the PSN, especially if they are going to continue to track with the schedule ahead. They have promised that there's going to be 2 big updates. One of them should happen within the next week, if not even less, and then there's going to be 2 big ones in early 2021, January and February. So by March, if things go way better, the game should be back on the PSN. The only other probable question that we have now is, will Microsoft follow suit as well? Because if they do, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be really bad for CDPR as a whole. If you look at the stock market right now, I mean, there's at least 50% drop in just the past week since the game's launch, maybe even like more. So it's such a shame that a game that was so highly anticipated and a company that was so beloved mismanaged their launch like this. Like, I really feel bad for CD Projekt Red right now and all the people who put in all the work in the game for over 8 years at this point, or at least 5 years depending on when development has started. But all these years, all the crunch, all the difficulties they've been through, yeah, this is just heartbreaking, dude, at this point. So hopefully they manage to push through and bring the game in the state it deserves to be, because right now it's a tragedy. Tragedy would probably not even begin to fully describe how it is, but it would be pretty close. So yeah, let me know down below, have you been issued a full-on refund? Do you have to ask for it? Is it given to you automatically? Let me know down below, and also let me know what your platform is. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.